what is this? Is this a herm? And then someone else said those are male, pollen sacs. And the person said male. This was supposed to be an autoflower.
Is everybody in? Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin.
This is very real.
Fantastic.
This drug is dangerous.
Wrong.
You cannot play with it. It's not funny. It's not something to laugh about. Good people don't smoke marijuana.
Shut your little punk ass up.
But the more you hate me, the more you will learn.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Autoflower podcast, where we chat with growers, breeders, and anyone relevant to the Autoflower cannabis community. My name is Chad. I'm your host, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in today. I really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate you. Think a lot about you. I want to give a shout out and welcome some new Patreon supporters, and there's quite a few because it's been a while since I've dropped an episode. But thank you to Mark, Darkside Sugar Wolf, Michael, Myco Madness, Rolden, Mad USA 8, Gilbert, Leaders of the Lost Terps, Scott, Bud Chef, Michael, Grin Reefer Farms, Brian, and Rhino. Hey, thank you all so much for signing up, and welcome to the Patreon community. So I know it's been a while since I've done an episode. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm still living here with my grandma as her caretaker, but I have started to create a routine for myself that allows me time to begin recording and producing episodes again. So thank you for all of your patience, especially all of the Patreon supporters. I really appreciate you guys bearing with me as I readjust my life to care for her. It really means a lot to me to be here, and so I appreciate you guys and all your support. In this episode, we're going to be chatting with Full Duplex once again. It's a casual conversation that starts off with the Mandalorian genetics update and evolves into us chatting about the mess of false knowledge we find so embedded in social media. Toward the end of the episode, I asked him about the upcoming Cannabis Cup in Washington, which features an entire category dedicated to Autoflower cannabis. So I guess it's kind of like the Autoflower Cup is being merged with this other thing or something like that. I'll let Full Duplex explain that. But before we do get started, I want to define a few terms for the new growers who are listening, so that you know what we're referring to at the beginning of this conversation. You're going to hear us talk about regular seeds. And so if you're not sure what that is or what that means, that just means male and female. So a regular seed just means when it sprouts, that could grow into either a male or a female plant. So a feminized seed is going to be a female. So there's a process done to the breeding that causes those seeds to all come out feminized. So you know that you'll be growing a female and you don't have to waste time with the males. The other word that you're going to hear us talk about is this word reversal, or reversing a plant. And so this is actually the process of feminizing seeds. But what it is you take a female and they apply some different chemical compounds to it. And there's a few different ones and different techniques that you can do. But what it does is it causes the female to actually turn into a male. It'll produce male parts and therefore produce pollen. And then those end up pollinating another female, and those end up becoming feminized seeds. But anyways, so those three terms, regular seeds, feminized seeds, and reversal, I just kind of wanted to give an upfront explanation of what we're talking about. Okay, with that done, let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? Please welcome back to the Autoflower podcast, Full Duplex, everybody.
Right on, man. Well, it's good to talk to you again, dude. Why don't you give us like an update of what's been going on? It's been so long since we've connected, but I know you've got a new dropout and stuff that we tried to get an episode in prior, and I couldn't, so I apologize. But why don't you get us up to date?
All right, man. Well, thanks for having me back as always. It's a pleasure to talk to you and catch you up. I know we both have busy lives, so I think it's a good point in time that we kind of give the update to the people. So, speaking about the recent drop, it was my first collaboration with Daz from Night Owl Seeds called The Purple Pope. And I honestly have to say it was wilder than I expected. Daz is very well known and very good at selecting and breeding autos, and he came to me for this project, and we thought it would be a great idea. And so we went with it when we crossed his Wizard's Apprentice with my Anvil. For what I believe, Anvil was the receiving mother. And we released the Pope right around Valentine's Day. There were a lot of people that really wanted it, and there were a lot of people that were pretty upset that couldn't get it. And, I apologize to those folks, and I'm also at the same time taken back by everybody who did get it to show that level of support. I've never seen a product of mine move that quick. And I got to thank Daz for, pulling me under his wing on that one and, keeping the Autoflower community rooted in what it always has been, is us looking out for each other to help each other succeed. You don't see a lot of that these days, but there's something tight-ish about the auto community, and I think it's because we've always protected our own. So, yeah, it was nice to see that collaboration and see the public response from it.
That's cool. So it sold out then?
Oh, yeah. It sold out within minutes of each night. There were 3 different drops. There was an initial premium drop that you had to sign up for. You paid a little extra, get in a little early, and they sold out immediately. So much demand on his website for not only the Purple Pope, but the Ronin Garden collaboration and a few of his other unique releases that he did a second night of limited drops for the people that, wanted to get their taste on it early. And, of course, it sold out again. And then the third and final night was the actual live drop of everything left that was in stock, and it just got flooded. I got messages from people that were like, it was in my inbox, and I went to refresh and pay, and it was gone. And I was like, that's an amazing thing to hear. Like, I never thought I'd see stuff like that.
Man, good for you guys, dude. That's so cool to hear, man. You guys are killing it, dude. Both you and Daz, you guys are just totally killing it, man. Killing the auto, I guess you could say game, as the lingo goes. But, dude, you guys are just offering some solid genetics, dude. It's really cool. And, Daz is just, he's got it down as far as feminizing and all that stuff, So those were all feminized too, yeah?
Those were all feminized. That was the very first Anvil hybrid feminization offer that's ever been done. There have been collaborations with like Firebuds. He released the Mando fruit that we put a hold on for right now until we can both have time to dedicate to it. And it was regular, but this was the first fem Anvil hybrid.
That's cool, man. I'm so glad to hear that it's a bummer for those that didn't get it, but I'm glad to hear that it sold out though. Yeah, that the community is pumping, that there's a demand for it like that. That's just so cool.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying, like, I've never seen anything like that. I was talking to Shango, and he was asking me how it felt. And I told him, I always dreamed of having my hand a part of something that people would want, but I never saw it coming like this. And it's just, the hard work and dedication that we've put in over the years and the things that we believe in that we knew had a potential to be successful, and they have become that. So I appreciate everybody that just creates that demand. You know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to try a little bit of it. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, what a cool name too, Purple Pope.
Yeah,
I like it.
Well, thank you. We juggled some names back and forth, quite a few of them actually, and we liked that one the best. And that I liked the ring to it, and so did Daz, and apparently everybody enjoyed it as well.
That's cool, man. Glad to hear it. So what else is going on? Have you mentioned your feminizing project that you've got going on. Before we hit record, you're kind of telling me a little bit about Anvil and stuff. You want to get us up to date on that?
Yep. Yeah. So coming this spring, I have been asked for a while now to have feminized offerings, and I settled on doing our first one as Anvil. We're going to be doing a feminized Anvil drop where an F7 female was used on an F7 female for the feminization process. to I think it's really going to lock in phenotypical expression. And I also think we're going to see a lot of, which will lead to us seeing a lot of balanced plants structurally and height-wise, and hopefully potentially yield-wise. I think people are going to be excited to grow it because a lot of folks steered away from Anvil back when they were regular only, mainly because of plant count, or they didn't have the room to hunt out or time and resources to remove the males. And, as what the seed game is like, it's a 50-50 shot every time you plant that seed, whether it's going to be male or female when they're regular. And, and I can see and understand some people's disappointments if they get a negative ratio of females to males when it comes to a 10-pack of seeds. But I think with feminizing Anvil will make everybody happy on both sides. The people that have run Anvil and have grown to love her will be able to get her in a feminized form. And then people who have steered away and want to give it a shot now have the ability to, because she's in a feminized form that they were looking for.
That's awesome. Yeah, let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about, because we're on the subject of feminized and regulars, and there's a lot of new growers coming on into the community, and there's still just so much misconception, on social media, especially on Facebook, as we always talk about in the groups. But a lot of people are really still confused, and that's okay. But maybe we could just clear that up. The difference between feminized and regulars. There's this misconception that all autoflower seeds are just feminized automatically. There's misconceptions about where they come from, that people do something really strange and special, or some wizardry, so to speak, on a photoperiod plant, and then it turns it into a feminized auto. There's still a lot of misconception out there. So you want to clear some of that up for us as far as feminization and regular versus feminized seeds and all that?
Absolutely. And, I think a lot of that origin stems from the fact up until a couple years ago, well, there was a shift in it. Initially, autoflowers were available as regular seeds. There were only a very select few of companies, and mostly European countries, that were even producing feminized autoflower seeds. And I think once we got more of an influx from other large companies, other auto breeders getting into the game and realizing the potential of feminization, that feminization kind of took over where the regular market was. Whereas you maybe saw a handful of guys who were still producing regulars, but a majority of the autoflower community and the breeders were producing fems. And I think with all the influx of the new growers and all the new states going legal and everybody being able to now home grow and not have, watched autoflowers grow from their infancy, only see autoflowers as being feminized because of that. So the two tidal waves just kind of, they clashed to where the market is full of feminization and people can get a autoflower seed. It's guaranteed a female. They grow it. Boom. They've got their own flower and medicine at home. And then, there were very few people that work with regulars. But that brings me to the point of, well, where does autoflower plants come from? We've heard people say that people do voodoo or magic to a photo period and, reverse it, and those seeds then become auto, which is absolutely false. And I've heard a few others, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. But that seems to be the most common one that you and I have both heard. And the only way we get autoflowers is from the ruderalis plant, which is what offers the day-neutral trait of cannabis of the ability to flower under 24 hours of light. Those are then bred into a different photo period for multiple generations until they start expressing that, autoflower genetic trait into where it flowers under 24 hours of light. So I think that's where a lot of folks have been confused. And then you may see it a little differently too, since I know we both are in the community pretty heavily, but I don't think we're always on the same forums or the same platforms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I see the same similar stuff. It's mostly on the Facebook groups, just going through and I just read a lot in there. I don't really comment or post a lot, but I do keep up to date and read a lot about what's going on in the groups and offer out help if I can. But But yeah, man, there's just so much of that, just so much false information. And, people don't know. I mean, they're probably just sharing what they think is correct, and so they shoot out a comment that's like, yeah, autoflowers are feminized. It's going to be a girl, or it could be something else like, hey, this is a male, or why is this thing herming? And it's like, well, that's not a herm, that's a male. And it's like,
Right.
oh, well, how is this a male? This is an autoflower. And it's like, well, it's like, okay, well, that's a lot of explanation, So yeah, the way I see it is, cannabis is cannabis, and then you have traditional cannabis, which is a photo period, which, it requires a certain dark period to trigger its flowering.
Right.
And so, but there's both regulars of those, male, female, or people take those and they reverse the females and they feminize them, and they make feminized seeds. So with autoflowers, it's the same thing. There's regulars, males, females, and there's also ones that are feminized, where people like yourself or Daz will take a female and reverse it and create pollen and pollinate another female, and those seeds become feminized seeds. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's, in all honesty, the best way to put it is autoflowers are the same sex as regular photoperiod cannabis, where there's a male and female from each species of cannabis. And, both of them have the ability to produce male-female, or if they're reversed by a chemical nature, have the ability to produce feminized seeds. Both types of cannabis have that ability. So the only time you really get anything new and tricky is when you start involving the two. But that's really not the road. That's really not the road that we're going down tonight. We wanted to just kind of clear the air. And one of the things that you said too was like, oh, is this a herm? That's another big misconception because of this misinformation, is because people don't understand what a true male plant looks like. They don't. They don't know that cannabis has the ability, whether it's photoperiod or autoflower, because there's so much feminization, which there's nothing wrong with it. I understand the points of it, but like, a lot of people don't know that anatomy, or that the cannabis plant has two different sexes.
Yeah, and it's knowledge is power, man. I mean, it's like, to know that and to educate the community on that is a good thing, and it's going to help bring just more clarification, especially to a lot of the new growers that are kind of coming into the community. As every year more states end up turning the corner and legalizing, and it's just blowing up more and more. So as it blows up, a lot of that old misconception, mythical information continues to bear fruit and to spread. And so we're just, we would like to kind of put a hold on that and say, hey, that's not really true. Let's take a look at this over here. Here's what's really going on, and especially with, this idea, because that's what I see is actually recently on a Facebook group, I saw, a male, and it was like it was pre-flowers, male pre-flowers, but it was obviously a male. It was not female at all. There wasn't one pistil on that thing. And, they mistakenly just assumed it was a hermaphrodite because it looks so funny and funky to them. And a male is so odd. And, I'm looking at it going, no, dude, that's just a male,
Right. And I think that's where a big part of the issue is people have, like we said, they don't know what they're really looking at. And the funnier part about that is what does hermaphrodite mean? That means both sex parts.
Right.
So at the same time that they're questioning a hermaphrodite and have never seen a male, they're also kind of showing that they haven't done very much research on the plant that they're growing. I know not everybody dives deep into it like that, but I guess with anything that I do, I like to kind of have a little bit of understanding before I go messing with it. Like, I'm not going to go rewire the house if I've never touched a breaker box before.
Yeah. Well, it does. It helps to gain an upper hand and to gain a little bit of knowledge. And if not, then you're going to be mistaken and you're not going to realize it. I think the actual words that went along with this post were, what is this? Is this a herm? And then someone else said those are male, pollen sacs. And the person said male. This was supposed to be an autoflower. And so it's like, you see right there that their statement itself is showing that they're not gathering the information and seeing it correctly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there was tons of conflicting information in that exchange right there. You know,
Right.
I mean, and
And
I
if you
think,
break it down, if you hop on and post this, 3-paragraph essay on, the sex of cannabis, you just look like a stuck-up know-it-all.
well,
You know?
exactly, and most of the time people won't read it anyway because attention spans these days are extremely short. So, how do you get that information across concisely to where they'll understand that there's two different species and they both have the ability to either be regular, female, or feminized? Like, to have that conversation with somebody, I think the best way for them to get it in any manner is ways like this: two guys that have grown plants having a conversation. Say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, listen, these are the things that we've seen, and it does shock me. I mean, I think it's ideal, and we're lucky because we've been messing with it for a little bit longer than most,
Well,
and
you have. I haven't. You have. I've only been growing for like 3 years, dude.
well, yeah, but still, but your knowledge shows through that you've done the research, the time, and the effort. But like,
Oh, okay.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
you like anything that you show interest in that you want to complete successfully, you put the time and research into.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with the experience that I've had, and I think it was a different era coming up, as in where the only place we really had to exchange were with our very, very close friends who knew how to keep their mouth shut, or muddle through and find some forums online where people are actually exchanging proper and correct information. I think now that there is, with Facebook, there's so much bro science going on and so many people that are experts in it. It's just keeping all this misinformation alive, because it's just so easy to throw up whatever you thought the process is or whatever you think that is on Facebook and then walk away, because nobody sees your reputation. Nobody has seen your qualifications as into why you're giving that information. So I think that's where a huge misconnection is. There's no bridge from knowledgeable people to people who are curious, especially in the Facebook groups, because the information moves so quickly. Like there's just, and nobody wants to pay attention. They just want answers now. And if it's over 3 lines, they won't read it. They don't want to read it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah, and misinformation can spread rapidly like a virus,
Oh, yes. Pathologically quickly. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and like we've got to remember that we're in a unique time right now in cannabis history in our country. And so there's a lot of people out there doing different things within this industry. There's people like us who are just tucked into this little tiny corner of this little thing called Autoflowers, and we're kind of over here in our own little corner of the universe. But even with that, it's like, but with the cannabis in general, there's a lot of people investing and that want your attention, that want to sell you their products. There's people want you to join their groups. People want you to, like follow their Twitter or their Instagram, and, they want to like present themselves and show you the certain way. And there's so much out there trying to grab your attention.
Oh, I agree with you.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like,
oh, no, I do. Yeah.
And anything within any industry, whether it's cannabis or coffee or whatever, dude, toys, the media and the advertising, and it's so loud and it's noisy and people just want to get your attention. There's people out there that are competing for our attention and our money, and misinformation can be thrown into the loop with all of that stuff as long as it's making money, because there's business people out there, man. And this is a golden opportunity for all these investors and entrepreneurs and stuff,
Oh, yeah, I do. I see a lot of that.
So we got to be careful with that. We got to realize, we're in this time. There's all kinds of craziness happening around this plant. I mean, dude, there's just everything, man. Extracts and, just storefronts and selling it and different, there's just so much, dude. Just so much going on right now, just surrounded around it. We're just in the growing community. There's people who could care less about growing. They're just into the end product, or they're into this, or they're into that, or whatever. And there's just a lot out there. And like I said before, I know I'm getting long-winded, but we just got to have discernment. We got to make sure that we have discernment and that if people are telling us something, make sure it kind of lines up, with truth. And finding that truth is just finding some people in the community that you can trust, whether that be, you or Daz, or, just somebody else, like some other good growers that we know, or other breeders, or, you know what I mean? Somebody who's been in the community for a while and who's shown and proven, that they're not just all full of crap, basically.
Right. No, and I agree with you 100%. There is so much sludge to wade through. There's so much information so quickly. And like you said, there's two different sets of people. There's people who are out there that are doing it, they love it, to provide a quality product for the person. Then there's people out there that know they can capitalize on this product because it's a massive tidal wave like the gold rush, and they're just looking to grab your attention long enough for the dollar. And I can see
like
where
the way you said that. That was way better than the way I said it. I was tripping over my words.
I blame the wedding cake I'm smoking tonight. But,
I love that. Yeah, you're right, though. Go ahead. Continue.
Oh, no, but, I think that's what it is. So that's where we have to have that, like you said, discernment, and try to figure out, what works for you, what you can grasp and comprehend, and what the sources are that you're getting your information from. Just like any other news media outlet or anything like that. A lot of people in the community are reserved about what the news is feeding out. I think we should have that same angle towards about what's coming out about cannabis. Know that the sources, know what the stories are coming from, and then do a little bit of the research to help wade through. Because I mean, anybody can post up, well, what's wrong with this? And they're going to get 500 different answers, and there may be 2 in that group that are correct. And the problem is, they're, like we talked about, they're a little bit long and winded in their paragraph, and they get lost in the muck. So, pay attention to what your sources are, and, what your end goal is. Make sure you know what you want at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of these Facebook groups, they're huge, man. I mean, there's like 13,000, 15,000 people in them.
I know.
And it's like, someone posts a picture of whatever it is, some deficiency or whatever it is, and there's like, 366 comments, and it's like, who's going to read through all those? There's like 366 comments, and like 300 of them are all different.
Well, and the other one, and 250 of them are add more CalMag. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's funny you say that, because I'm totally working up an idea for a shirt design that says something about CalMag. It's just, it's so funny. It's so true.
I will line up. It's like, yeah, it's like it needs more CalMag. You know, it's almost like the
I was thinking cowbell. Oh, there you go, dude. I was just getting ready to tell you. I was thinking of a design of, the more cowbell shirt, of having something along those lines that has more CalMag. I think someone might have mentioned that to me before, so I don't know if that's my own clever idea or not. Someone might have messaged me that on Instagram or something. But anyways, yeah, I was thinking about doing something like that. I thought it'd be pretty funny.
I think that would be an instant classic. I think it'd probably be one of your hottest selling shirts. But, like, one of the things that I did, and maybe I can give some insight to people, is try to align yourself with people who have the same ideas and practices that you have in your gardening, or maybe even in your day-to-day life. And, I'm a transplant to Washington State, and I wanted to align myself with people that had the same practices, who had been growing for a long time, so I could learn that skill set. Because the people that have been doing it the longest and are still doing it, there's a reason for that. And it's not because they're perfect at what they do. It's just they're more experienced, and honestly probably got knocked down and got back up several more times than most of us. And that's the kind of information I look for. And what I refer to is, understand your sources and know where your information is coming from.
I totally agree, man. Like, I try to follow people who are kind of that I align with, that like have the same values as me, people that I just click with, that I feel like their personality is cool and that they're not full of crap. And then, you just click with certain people, and, and that's okay. And so I follow those people. Some of them are just strictly photoperiod growers, that I just follow because they're so smart, and they have so much to offer, and I learn so much from them. So anyone that you can find like that, or maybe a YouTube channel or a website, or maybe the, Autoflower .net or whatever it would be, whatever the avenue is. If you could just find something to plug into to where you can have a good source of info that you can come to trust.
Right. Where you've got people that have been around for a long time. And, one thing I will say is, like THC numbers on the back of a pack, if your biggest source of information is Instagram and you're following somebody, just because somebody has 40,000 followers doesn't necessarily mean they're getting the correct information out to you. It's just like THC. Just because it's 35% THC doesn't mean it's going to melt your face, which I don't think there's 35 out there. So, nobody hang me on that comment, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean, because that's what I was trying to say just a little bit ago too, or what you said better than I did was, like I can make an account right now that with a fancy or whatever, I can take my Autoflower podcast account that's got like around 3,500 followers, and they're all organic, authentic followers. But I can take that and I can go, purchase 50,000 followers and I can make myself look all crazy huge. But the problem, and there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, it's not my thing. But to each their own. But the issue is if the person behind that isn't offering you good information and they're just really, getting the followers so that they can, get brand endorsed and make some money off coupon codes and all that, which, there's nothing wrong with that either. But
no, I
again, if the yeah, I have a coupon code with Nature's Living Soil, Autoflower Podcast 15, by the way, save 15% on your order. Shameless plug. But anyways, if the person, what I'm trying to say is if the person behind that is feeding you false information, if they don't really know and they're just doing this just as a business venture, then you just got to be careful, man. You may maybe think twice before taking that information from somebody, who just busts on the scene and, no one knows who they are. And yet they've got, 25,000 followers and, their stuff looks all professional. It doesn't mean much.
Right. It doesn't mean much because, like you said, there's a lot of endorsements hanging in those rooms. There's a lot, and I don't get me wrong. Like you said, too, I have sponsors myself as well. But I try to align myself with products that I know if people are going to buy, they're going to get similar results or it's going to work as solid for them, too. Like that's who I want. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to pick and choose on a couple of different ones like that. And that's who I want to align myself with because their customer base, I want to support the customer base of a company that supports me. So,
yeah.
Sorry, I got tangled in my words right there.
No, you're all good, man. You're all good. Hey, what do you know about this Autoflower cup coming up, man? You allowed to share any secrets on that, or
maybe too much? Maybe too much. No, actually, I have been fortunately blessed to have some involvement, not to the point to where I'm not judging. I'm not going to be a judge or anything like that, but I will be giving a few talks. I think Chef Sebastian Carosi, who's the host, was got me up for a few talks, but we can go over a little bit of it on the details that I know that he wouldn't mind me sharing right now. It's going to be in Lilliwaup, Washington, which is on the 101 up here on the far outside peninsula. And it is absolutely breathtaking.
nice.
I've been here for a few years now, and I've gotten to travel the state and see some of the beautiful sights, but I'd never made it that far up the 101 yet. And it was beautiful in Oregon, but this place is going to be at a oyster farm and beach resort that is literally on the Hood Canal. All the cabins and the campsites all face the Hood Canal. There's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 3,000 feet of beachfront, and those 3,000 feet of beachfront are all both naturally occurring and seeded oyster farm.
Really? Dang, I didn't know all that.
Yeah. So there's going to be incredible activities with wild foraging, and may that be oysters and clams that are there right on the beach where the cup's going to be, or potentially that time of year there's going to be some wild mushrooms and things that we'll be able to forage for. And I think there's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 200 acres of property besides the beachfront that we'll have the access to forage through. It's going to be a private event. And by private event, they are going to be selling tickets to it, but it's going to be more of an intimate event. I don't think it's going to be over 350 people, and don't necessarily quote me on that. I could be. I mean, I've taken in a lot of information on that on this so far, and talked about a few things with Sebastian. But like, it's going to be a pretty intimate event. I do know it's August 6th, 7th, and 8th, and I think it's going to be pretty awesome. And the goal of it here is kind of take it away from what some of the cups tend to be like, and some of the conventions tend to be like, where it's stiff and uptight, and they want it more to be a relaxed and enjoyable environment, and that's why they're doing it kind of as like a destination. And I think it's going to be, it's a different twist on, what people perceive cups to be in the past. So I really think it's going to be something to enjoy. And the nice thing about it is, it initially started off as just Autoflower only, and it grabbed a ton of interest because there's not a lot of those kinds of events around here. So Bio365 has joined on, and it's going to be called the Cultivators Cup, and it's going to allow both photo period and Autoflower entries for different awards. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so they've expanded it. I think it's a huge thing. I think it's going to allow a lot of cross networking, and I think that'll help both sides of the photo period versus Autoflower world. So you'll have both worlds come into a point to where they can actually exchange information with people that have been doing it for a while.
I can't wait for a bunch of photo growers who have never like grown or even smoked or tasted autos to like get an experience of some of the Autoflowers, and kind of maybe come to a different conclusion that, or maybe if they're on the fence, or maybe they're just curious. It'll be interesting to have that mix, and to to see like what their thoughts are and stuff on it. I think that might help blow the door open for autos more.
I do too, and that's one
at least on a small scale.
Well, yeah, I mean, because it can draw people from all across the country, and I know there's a lot of people that, especially with the sponsors and companies that are coming in. I don't know the list of them. I don't know all of them, but I do know that there's going to be quite a few. There'll be a vendors village with all kinds of stuff. We'll be there, obviously.
Yeah, I'll be there, man. I'm going.
Good.
I'm flying
Good.
up there, dude. I've got an older brother that lives up there that I've only met him a couple of times in my life, and I'm looking forward to being able to see him and being able to see you. And I've been in touch with Sebastian, and I'm going to get him on the show too. And maybe maybe as the time approaches a little sooner, we're going to do a whole show dedicated to the cup and stuff. So, but yeah, dude, that sounds cool, man. Is there waves up there or what? Can I bring a surfboard or what?
No, man, you're dealing with the Hood Canal. You don't want to swim in that water. That's cold water.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, that's cold water.
My wetsuit probably wouldn't work. Probably still get hypothermia through it.
Now these guys out here see a lot of dry suits, especially the guys that are working the marinas this time of year that are doing boat checks, and they're checking on breakwaters and stuff like that. Yeah, those guys are in dry suits.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. How far is that from where you live? Is that very far?
By the Crow, no. It's literally right over one of the mountains here behind the house. But due to the drive and the only way to get there, it's about an hour from the house.
Oh, that's not too bad. Shoot,
no.
Man, 1 hour.
Yeah, no. It's not a horrible drive at all. Considering when I drove to Oregon, it was like 8.
Yeah. Really.
So having this in the backyard here is going to be pretty awesome. The drive is spectacular. If it should be clear in August during the Cup because it's wrapping up summer there. We're still pretty dry, but
should be beautiful, huh?
Oh, the mountains! Wait till the whole drive.
I can't wait.
The whole drive up, that's all you see is the Hood Canal and all the Olympic Mountains, which is absolutely gorgeous.
I hope all the homies from the last Cup are there, man. At least some of them, and I hope that we just get to meet a bunch of new friends and stuff, man. I hope that it sounds like it's going to be awesome, dude.
Yeah, it should be pretty spectacular. I know there are going to be a couple folks that I know or that we know will be returning. Unfortunately, I don't think the cousin will make it this year. He's got prior engagements, but
Sasquatch.
Oh, Sasquatch, yeah. Yeah, but
He's
I
just a
think
big
that,
old corn-fed boy.
yes, he is. He's a very tall gentleman. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good experience for everybody. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a nice cross-pollination of, both worlds.
Yeah.
Maybe push some people over the fence and think about it, and maybe grab a few people that were just hell-bent in their old ways and come over and see a new light. I'd really just like to see the expressions from people once they start trying a lot, because initially, there's going to be a lot of Autoflower guys there. I know, not that I know personally, but I know that we'll be there. That should be a nice variety. I know Michael will be back. Obviously, he's got a crown to come defend. So, him and his wife, I know will be there. So it'll be good to see everybody again.
Yeah, is Daz going? Do you know?
I don't know quite yet.
Okay.
We've chatted about it. I don't know if, can't remember what we last talked about it, if he said yes or no yet, but I know we've chatted about it a couple times.
Dude, he's so cool, man. He really is just such I wish people knew like how nice of a guy he is behind the scenes, and like how gentle and like, I don't know. There's just something about him. Dude. He's a cool dude. I like Daz.
Yeah.
I like him. I hope he's there again. I hope we get to see him again.
Yeah, you and me both. It'd be nice to have him there. It'd be kind of weird with him not being there.
Yeah, really. Awesome, man.
So yeah, I think it'll be a good event, dude. There's more to come. You can was it the bio? Let me see what they put the name on Instagram. That way people can go check it out, because that's where a lot of the information is going to come from. You'll see a lot of the information for the cup coming from them.
Okay, yeah, I'll put a link to the cup Instagram in the show notes of this episode.
Yeah, it's the Bio 365 Cultivators Cup on Instagram.
Okay, so that's what it's officially called, huh?
That's what it's officially called.
Sweet,
yeah, I think if you're in the area, or if you've never been to the Pacific Northwest and you want to check out a heck of an event, with some beautiful scenery, you should make the trip. I know a few guys that are coming who don't even smoke, but just want to be part of the experience because they've never seen something like that.
Oh, for sure. And that's what's so cool about it, dude, is what I love, what I loved about the cup. I know we rant about the cup sometimes, but I don't know, people get tired of hearing it or not. But dude, it's one of those events, and it's just that type of community where it's like, even if you don't smoke, it's like nobody cares. Like, everyone's just cool. Everyone's just chatting about life and just things and growing, and even if you just garden, or even if you don't like gardening at all, like the people are they're so cool, dude. It really is. It's laid back, man. It's not like going to a freaking Slayer or Ozzy Osbourne concert where everyone's all sloppy drunk and falling over and fighting, and it's just so opposite, man. It's like you're at some peace fest in the 60s or something,
Well, and I think we're lucky because I don't know if all cups are like that, man.
I don't know. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think the experience that we had, even though there was some aftershock about it, we shall say, I think it was one of those once in a lifetime opportunities, because we were able to meet a community that we've all been talking to for a long time. And it was a 5-day event, and that's why they're doing it as a 3-day event up here again this year. Is just to kind of give it that different feel of where you can actually connect with the community rather than feel that you're being paraded in front of it,
Right on, man.
Oh, cool, dude.
I'm trying to think of what else we can talk about, or how we can segue into something else.
Well, I can't say. I do have one more project and thing I'd like to chat about.
Okay, cool.
I do have another hybrid coming out. That is done with Brother Mendel's Selections. He has an auto cookies, or a Black Label Cookies 3. That is an Autoflower that he worked himself. It's nothing that was taken from any of the other large brands that are playing the name game. And we hybridized it with the Femme Anvil Pollen as well. So that new hybrid will be available actually before Anvil will, by the way the plants are finishing up, it looks like. But I'll figure out what I'm going to do with the drop on this, because I want to coordinate it well. But that's another one to look forward to. It'll be our first fem hybrid. So we'll have the Anvil fem, and then we'll also have a fem hybrid for the first time too. True F1s. I know that sounds crazy. However, both of these lines, one line was worked to F7, and the other has been worked and back crossed and worked forward again from the, I think it was the forum cut cookies is what he had and what his building block was. It's putting out some. I've got 2 terpene profiles coming off of it. We got a lot of candy and sweetness. Definitely, I can smell the Durban.
Give me a sweet tooth.
Yeah, it's real sweet, real fruity, candy-like, and there's a couple of them that have got a more musty, earthy smell to them, which I like. So I think people will be pleased with this. I think it's going to be a good, vigorous plant for people to grow. I think it'll perform just as well as any other of the hybrids that have come out of Anvil's outcrossings that people have done. May that be the Mando fruit. There's been several other gentlemen that are kind of, private breeders and do stuff for preservation process, projects, and they've seen some really, really, really good expressions out of the doing outcrosses with Anvil. So I'm excited about this one too.
Nice, man. So what about as far as when we're recording this anyways, what's available right now of your line, and where can people get that at?
It's kind of spotty right now because I'm rebuilding stock. I know there's some Australian bastard cannabis still left. I know there's some gems still out there. A few places here and there still have Bobby's Widow. Coal Miner's Daughter restocked recently to DC Seed Exchange. And I actually had Hember reach out. They're looking for restocks too, but I know they've got ABC and Gem as well. Seeds Here Now probably has some Bobby's Widow. Like I said, it's kind of spotty. But if you do want to look for anything, DC Seed Exchange, Hember Genetics Collection, Seeds Here Now, the Seed Seller, Regenerative Seed Co. And then there's a few places in I'm trying to think, Ireland that have some Bobby's Widow and Coal Miner's Daughter. If there's some folks out there, Cosmic Laughter is his Instagram name. If you reach out to him, if you're from those areas, I do know that they have some stuff over there. So there's some stuff.
We do have listeners in Ireland, man. So
that's awesome. If we got some listeners in Australia, Australia has some Gem. I think he still has some Coal Miner's Daughter down there as well. So those are the 2 places I know that are not in the mainland that do have some of the genetic stock.
Awesome, but dude.
It's pretty bare bones right now, man. I mean, I was fortunate last year. Sold everything I had of Alpha and Anvil very quickly too. It was before midsummer where all that stock is gone. So I know people have been patient with me, and I appreciate the patience. Tried to up the production here, but I work with certain limits, so just bear with me.
Yeah, and I got to apologize, man, because it's like the last time I talked to you, I think you were like in the same boat where you were kind of dry, and then you had like done all these releases, but I've been kind of in dormancy for the last 3 months caring for my grandma. So, and then I come back on and we do another episode, and then you happen to be out like pretty dry again. sorry about the timing, dude.
Oh no, it's okay though. It just gets people ramped up because all those outlets are going to get this new feminized stock. So, I know everybody, I know it seems like I'm pretty spread as far as seed banks go, but everybody has who they like to work with. And I'm just, glad that they want to pick up the work. So it's pretty awesome. So yeah, there'll be more available coming soon. I mean, there's not too much longer of a wait. 1st of April, mid-April at the latest, right before outdoor planting season, people should see the restocks. There will be an extremely limited drop of the F8 Anvil regular. I didn't produce a lot this round. I did it as a preservation project, just to keep the line alive and continue to work it in case I hit any snags with the Fem project. But there will be I may only do 10 packs of the 10, maybe 15 of Anvil regular F8s, which that puts them, that's 8 generations of work.
Yeah, that's crazy. F8. Man. No wonder they're all purple.
And about the and same structure. I got a slight height variance on a couple, but they're pretty uniformed.
That's awesome, man. Well, we all respect and appreciate the work that you're doing, dude, and all of your breeding and all the autoflowers that you're bringing to the community and stuff, man. Much appreciated for the years and years and years of time that you put into this before it was even popular, before it was even really a thing. And now we all get to reap the benefits of that. So thanks to you, man. Appreciate that.
No, it's no problem, dude. Like I've always told you, I'm just glad people like it. I saw some potential early on, and the fact that people actually like it to the point where it sells out the way it does, and it's given me a drive to continue. That's what it's really done for me, is really give me the motivation and lets me know that I kind of might be on the right path here. So I thank everybody for that. It's humbling. It's a very humbling experience.
All right, well, that does it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Just a friendly reminder to follow the podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter if you aren't already. Also, don't forget to check out the Bio 365 Cultivators Cup on Instagram. As always, the links are in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to live out your values, to love your plants, and to love one another. See ya.
Nicotine, alcohol, good drugs. Coincidentally, tax drugs. Ooh, how does this fucking work?
The deadly narcotic. The dried leaves and berries are ground up and made into cigarettes by a simple hand machine. The deadly narcotic is thus quickly and easily prepared for its market. The sale of marijuana is even more difficult to detect and halt than the traffic in drugs such as opium, morphine, and heroin.